Meridians make the world go round, the world go round, the world go round. Meridians make the world go round. Be a happy, healthy soul. Meridians are the energetic pathways that carry energy to every part of our bodies. If a meridian becomes congested or blocked, the organs and the systems that it represents can't function properly. Learning how to trace your meridians and doing it on a daily basis helps you to repair the meridian system as well as to maintain it. So it's very important to learn. In this DVD, I'm going to be teaching you the location of all 14 meridians as well as their flow and direction. And then we're going to put it to a song so that you can quickly learn it and also easily remember it. It'll be an easy thing for you to do every day. So, let's have some fun. Okay, you can do this. Now remember, when we're tracing the meridians, we do it with an open palm because the energy of the hand will pull the energy of the meridian in the direction that it should go. And also remember that we always begin and end the meridian tracing sequence by tracing central and governing at either end. So you will trace those two meridians twice. All right, so let's begin by tracing central meridian, which starts at the pubic bone, traces straight up the midline of the body, and ends just beneath the lower lip where we lock it in. Next is governing meridian, which begins at the tailbone, comes straight up the spine, connect fingers if you can, over the crown of the head, comes to the upper lip, and locks in. Next is spleen meridian, which begins at the outside of the big toe, traces straight up the inside of the leg, starts to flare out at the hips, to the high armpit, and down to the bottom of the rib cage. That's followed by heart meridian, which begins underneath the armpit and traces along in line with the baby finger on the inside of the arm, comes off the pinky finger with a little tug. Underneath the armpit, traces along the arm, underneath and off the baby finger with a little tug. Then you will turn your hand over for small intestine meridian, which traces up the outside of the arm, drops back on the scapula to the cheekbone and out to the opening of the ear. Repeat on the other side. Turn the hand over, trace up the little finger up the outside of the arm, drop back on the scapula to the cheekbone and out to the opening of the ear. Next is bladder meridian, which begins right in between the eyebrows, traces straight up over the crown of the head, reach down as far on the spine as you can so that you can come around, reach back up, continue on straight down the spine. When you get to below the waist, you flare out slightly, then scoop back up towards the waist, and then finish by tracing underneath the glutes. The second part of that meridian begins by reaching as far up as you can, come straight down through the glutes, down to behind the knees where you'll jog in just slightly, and then you'll sweep down the sides of the legs and off the little toe. Next is kidney meridian, which begins underneath the foot, the ball of the foot, in line in between the first and second toe. So just behind the ball of the foot is where it begins, where we will then start to move towards the ankle. We will trace behind and slightly underneath the ankle a loop, and then we'll come straight up the inside of the leg, straight up the midline of the body to the K27s. We'll give ourselves a good buzz. Okay, the easiest way to do that is to kind of rock to the sides of your feet. Start at the wellspring of life point, just behind the ball of the foot. Start to head back towards that ankle, and beneath and behind the ankle, trace that loop straight up the inside of the legs to the K27 points where you give yourself a good buzz. Okay, next meridian is circulation sex meridian, which begins at the outside of the nipple, comes up and over the shoulder, down the inside of the arm, and off the middle finger. Outside of the nipple, up and over the shoulder, down the inside of the arm, and off the middle finger. Next is triple warmer meridian, which begins by turning your hand over, and at the fourth finger, we'll start to trace up the outside of the arm. You'll come to just beneath the ear, trace behind the ear, and end at the temple. Repeat on the other side. Starting at the fourth finger, trace up the outside of the arm to just underneath the ear, behind the ear, and end at the temple. The next meridian is our favorite, gallbladder meridian, which begins at the end of the eyebrow, drops down to the opening of the ear, comes straight up a couple of inches, and does a loop forward, and then drops back behind the ear. Then it will come up over the head to the forehead, and then straight down the crown to the shoulders, where we will then let go, come underneath, and go forward on the rib cage, back on the waist, forward on the hips, and down the sides of the legs and off the fourth toe. Next is liver meridian, which begins in between the big toe and second toe, traces straight up the insides of the legs, starts to flare out at the hips, comes to the side of the rib cage, and then finishes by stopping right underneath the breasts in line with the nipples. Next is lung meridian, which begins right about here at this lung point, comes up and over the shoulder and off the thumb. Repeat on the other side, up and over the shoulder and off the thumb. Then turn your hand over for large intestine, which begins at the index finger, comes up the outside of the arm, across the neck to just underneath the nose and out at the flare. Index finger to the outside of the arm, comes across the neck to just underneath the nose and out at the flare. That's followed by stomach meridian, which begins just underneath the eyes, drops down to the jawbone, circles around the outside of the face, down the midline to the collarbone, where it steps out, comes down through the breasts, in at the waist, out at the hips, down the legs, and off the second toe. We're going to follow that by tracing spleen meridian one more time, which starts at the outside of the big toe, comes up to the inside of the arm, out, flares out at the hips to the high armpit, down to the bottom of the rib cage. And then once again, we're going to seal the deal by tracing central one more time, from the pubic bone straight up to just beneath the lower lip, lock it in, and governing straight up the spine, connect if you can, over the top of the head, down the bridge of the nose to the upper lip, lock it in. So, we're ready to dance. Dum, dum, da, 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 dum. Dum, dum, da, 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 dum. The minute you walked in the joint, ba-dum, I could tell you were a man of distinction, a real big spender, good looking, so refined. Would you like to know what's going on in my mind? So let me get right to the point, ba-dum. I don't pop my cork for any guy I see. Hey, big spender, bottom, bottom, spend a little time with me. Dun, da, 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 da. Dum, dum, da, 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 dum. So let me get right to the point, bottom. I don't pop my cork for any guy I see. Hey, big spender, bottom, bottom. Hey, big spender, bottom, bottom. Spend a little time with me. Dun, da, 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 dum. Dun, dun, da, 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 dum. So there you have it, a way to trace the meridians radiantly. So now we're going to be talking about the radiant circuits, which is all about our capacity to experience joy. And tracing the radiant circuits on a daily basis will greatly magnify your ability to experience joy. So it's very important to do every day. So we're going to go right into teaching you how to trace those patterns. And the first one we're going to do is regulator. And the yin part of the regulator circuit begins in between the eyebrows, traces a heart pattern on the face, comes straight down the neck, scoops across the chest and down to just above the elbows. We call this I Dream of Jeannie arms. Then you'll sweep up, back, over, straight down the front of the body, and you will squeeze on either side of the feet at the bunion points. The yang part of the regulator circuit Smooths up and over the ears, down to the shoulders, smooths across the chest, and you will grasp here at very high I Dream of Jeannie arms, right here. And then you'll sweep, and as high as you can reach, you will sweep down the back of the body and off the sides of the feet. The next radiant circuit is the bridge flow. The first part of that starts at the power point at the back of the head, comes up over the crown of the head to the frontal neurovasculars, scoops into the cheeks, then down to the K27 points. Then moves into the thymus, and then you'll trace the heart pattern 3 times. Heart, heart, heart. And then you'll smooth down the front of the body, wrap your hands underneath the arch of your foot, and bump up. Straighten your arms and legs if you can. The second half of the bridge circuit can be done one of a couple of ways. The first way is to imagine yourself standing right in front of yourself, and as though you're looking at your own back. And you will start to trace a figure 8 pattern all the way down your beautiful body to the floor. The other way you can do it is to just trace the pattern on yourself, like this, all the way down. The next radiant circuit is the belt flow, which begins at the sides, sweeps several times over to the side, down the side of the leg and off the foot. Repeat on the other side. Really wrap it around that belt flow down the leg and off the side of the foot. The last radiant circuit we're going to be doing in this sequence is the penetrating flow, which starts at the sacrum, wraps around to the groin, sweeps up the body over the breasts, and then you'll place one palm on top of the other with thumbs up, and with an open mouth, cover your mouth and breathe in 3 times. And rest. Now I'm going to teach you how to trace the radiant circuits to the lyrics of the song, so you'll have a little bit of a head start as to putting the radiant circuits to music. And for the men in the crowd, you just make these lyrics your own, okay? All right, so we're going to start with regulator circuit, and it goes like this. I bring home the bacon, squeeze, fry it up in a pan, sweep, boom. And never, never let you forget you're a man. 'Cause I'm a woman. W-O-M-A-N. Say it again and again and again. 'Cause I'm a woman. W-O-M-A-N. Okay, let's dance it. And now for the radiant circuits. I bring home the bacon, fry it up in a pan, and never, never let you forget you're a man, 'cause I'm a woman. W-O-M-A-N. Say it again and again and again, 'cause I'm a woman. W-O-M-A-N. Are you feeling radiant? Good. So now you've learned one way to trace your meridians and your radiant circuits to music. So I would encourage you to ham it up, make it as campy as you want, and above all, make it your own. So until next time, do you want to have fun, fun, fun? How's about a few laughs?